Exactly. I know one time I was trying to be included in something, and they said, well, you have to have at least 5,000 people on social media or something like that. And I was like, oh wow. You know, it's always a new hurdle, always something new for you to jump over. And as a business owner, if there's anybody who's just starting their business out there, be encouraged. I remember, when you first start your business and you're trying, and everything seems like you have to have at least 2 years. If anybody, after 2 years, or when you first start a new job, well, maybe we'll consider you for some after 2 years, after that, get to the 2 years, and then it's like, no, it doesn't, and then another 2 years, and then another. So I think that we have to be very creative about measuring what we want our life measure of what is success and what isn't, because there's always going to be an additional hurdle. I'm convinced. Now, unless somebody tells me different, like that they actually got to a point in their life and there wasn't something else to jump over, there wasn't something else to achieve, Janae may have the answer because she's a lawyer, right? Janae, is there a point in life where you don't have anything else to, jump over? She's like, I don't know, JB, you're older than me. You tell me. I'm gonna tell you. It is always something new. So the key,
Always.
look, right? So the key is what? We have to stay in training. Stay in training. Always have your legs on build. Always have your mind on build. Always have yourself on detox, not tox, right? Like, we have to be on detox on every level. Detox on friends, detox on advice that you take in. Like, you going into work, everybody standing by the coffee machine, pretty much you're in the wrong place. Because everybody standing next to the coffee pot is talking about the hurdles in life. It's just a given. Right, Sadie White. Like, they just, there's always going to be a section where people, and I don't know, because it's been a long time since I've been in corporate America, but I just remember, like, in the coffee room, like, that's where everybody just stood around, like, talking about all that was horrible about the job. And I was like, when I look at things from my perspective, that I talk to people all the time that are so extremely blessed, and it feels so good when you know how blessed you are, because that you have been able to take that hurdle, jump over that hurdle, achieve your dreams, get that savings. And when you tell me, well, I don't have enough, I get that. I get that. You do have that goal, and I'm going to do everything I can to help you reach that as well. But at the same time, I want to make sure that I do my best job to make you feel the reality of what you've done and the sacrifices that it takes to get to where we are. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen.
It's not easy. I was I was watching a commercial a few minutes ago, and there's this guy, he's running for governor for Virginia, and he's running this commercial, and he said, I left corporate America in 1995, and I went to work for this firm, and eventually I became co-owner, and now I'm very rich, basically. And that's the business grew, and now I have 2,000 people. And I thought to myself, he's left a firm. He didn't even start a firm. He left and worked, you know what I mean, to work for someone else, became the co-owner for someone else, and now has 2,000 people. And do you know how hard it is to build, you know what I mean, a company? How hard it is for me to keep two people that believe in my dream, let alone 2,000.
Right.
No matter how much I help them, Queen Howard, no matter how much I pay them, Queen Howard,
Yep.
there are certain things that innately, you know what I'm saying? I hope that white brother realizes the advantages that he has over when a Black woman says she's going to leave corporate America and she's going to do something that nothing that nobody else is doing. He joined a whole nother group of people doing it. When I talk to them now and they ask me like what in 19, I mean, and basically his business is the same thing. They started a financial service firm, but they got so many rich friends that they were able to call it a hedge fund. You know, like I have to be licensed and actually invest in things that are regulated for my clients. But hedge fund people, which I pray to God one day I'm able to do that for us, that they have rich people that have so many rich friends that their rich friends say, hey, let's just an extra 10 million. Do something with that. Then the other friend says, here's an extra 10 million. Next thing you know, they got $1 billion just to invest in new business ideas. It exists, y'all. It exists. That's why Afroeconomics is so important because we need to have a generation of our people that can say, you know, hey, my mom was in Afroeconomics from its beginning. My dad, you know, was in Afroeconomics from the beginning, and they built that thing, you know, so that it can be like today, like one of our members, his wife passed away. And I went in and on his wife's obituary page and I said, on behalf of everybody in Afroeconomics, I want you to know that we have your back, that we support you, that we're praying for you, and that we have a unending, you know, love for you and your family during this time and always. But it felt so good to say, not just me, but there's also 599 other people who really want this for you. And 1,500 that are also about to sign up, right? Exactly. Because I know I got my 2,000 plus contacts that I invited to this event tonight. But you know, somebody has to believe that. Somebody has to believe that for us to be able to do that. So even if it takes 100 more years before we can have a white guy, a Black guy who's saying, I, you know, left corporate America, started my firm, and now I have, you know, 2,000 employees. That, you know, that it's even if it takes another 100 years, at least I thank God for you all for helping. At least we're moving in that right direction. At least we're moving in that direction. We got to take these steps. We got to take these steps. We've made it through this pandemic. Think about it. Afroeconomics has made it through 9/11. It's made it through the Great Recession. And we're not living on no PPP. Ain't no PPP over here. This all you, all you, all your support is keeping this together. I think I'll cry now. I'm just joking. But wouldn't it be funny if I could just cry on demand? I just think I'll cry. Have y'all seen that new Coming to America? And James Earl Jones says he's gonna die now. He says, I'm gonna die now. And he just dies.
Right.
You know you the king when you say I'm gonna die and I'm gonna die. That you in charge. Exactly. I think I'll cry now. So let's look at this. Let me put this in I'm gonna put this in our archive. This is our Wednesday night Afroeconomics live indeed. And our topic tonight is mid-year, y'all. We are at mid-year point. Can you believe it? 2021. We're in the second half. What do we need to be thinking about? What do we need to be thinking about? What do you think you should be thinking about? I got your mic open. Give it to me. What do you think you should be thinking about? Let's see. There's somebody that I'm not listening to is like, I want to say it. It's always when I check social media and because they're looking at it and they're like, well, I wish you would ask me. I want to tell her. Look at it. How you doing, Miss Albridge? who is saying, you know what? I got to get that straight with my finances. Of course. What do you think? What do you have to make sure that you look at? How about this? How about give you suggestions? How about this is a good time to look over your goals again? You know, look over what your specific financial goals are so that when we have our meeting, we look at you look at your financial planning portal, that we look at those goals again and we see where we are with that. Because some of them were short term, some of them were longer, some of them were wants, needs. Remember that? Like, let's look at the goals again so that because when we have our, meeting, you make a point to say, oh, and even before that, you have the access, you have your password. If you're a member of AfroEconomics, you can go into the financial planning portal straight through membership. You forgot your password, it will reset or get me to reset it and go over your financial goals. I think it's important to look at that. Like every day, I have to start my day by doing, what is my priority. My priority, right? My priority is I got to keep myself in good health. So if I don't do it at the beginning of the day, it just doesn't get done. So if health is a goal, then you got to put up there. And you know what the 10th principle of Afroeconomics is? Your health and wealth. It's vital. It's not number 10 because it's least important. It's number 10 because I wanted 10, and I had to stop. But it is very important. But what else is important to you? I see like some interesting stuff. Like, some people go, they might not even be dating anyone, and they'll say, I want to have a wedding in 10 years, and they'll say how much money they want to spend. I ain't mad at them. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least they're thinking about it and they know that, they want to spend money on it and that's important to them. You know, when they start seeing somebody, I'm going to tell them, though, she want to get married. I know. I just want to see it on a man's financial goal. I just want to say, I'll be like, oh, that is so good. You know what? I have seen none on one. Yeah, he's in his 20s and he does have it down, but he does not want to spend a lot of money on the wedding. So, look, I hope he doesn't meet someone who has the same goal, but she wants to spend a lot of money on the wedding. That that's when you need to talk, right?
Right.
So review, right? Review them financial goals. And if you're married, review those financial goals together. Look at that. This is a good time to do that. Set up that family meeting. Sometimes there's a spender and then there's a saver. Sometimes that doesn't mean, like, even though I focus a lot on saving, that doesn't mean that saving is always best, because I've known people who their family literally needs things like a stove and they refuse to buy it when their spouse is not working. Now, does that make sense when now you have to buy every meal? That's inappropriate. It's just inappropriate. So just because you think that you're saving some money in one capacity, but you're costing the family so much more when it comes to health and just your expenditure. You gotta shop out for like the majority of your meals because your stove doesn't work. Just an example. So, sometimes you think that you're saving, but you're actually hurting. So
Hurting.
that's where, it can benefit to get that other person involved. And hopefully that's me, because a family membership is perfect for that. And then, our second point of what we're talking about, mid-year financial checkup, what I think you should be thinking about. And I had also, this is what I wrote. I said, wow, it might sound like this is a lot of work. A mid-year checkup is well worth the effort when you consider the hard work that you put in building and creating all that you have. So just keeping it in check, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth spending this time. It's worth spending whatever you need to invest in, just stopping for a moment and checking out. Because I feel that this year just went by so fast. I was talking with a member today, and we set up the allocation for her work plan. And after that, that was January. And after she said, okay, I'll take care of it this week. We met this week because, they got a fear of, they thought there was COVID in the family. There wasn't COVID in the family. Then there was COVID in the family. You know what I'm saying? Now, all of that. And then we get to July.
Mm-hmm.
So thank God for just their perseverance to say, okay, I'm gonna get back to this. Cause there's a whole bunch, I need you all to help me, help you, help me, help you. So a third point is to, check on taxes. Many, 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 like millions of people to have things at work that can help them reduce their taxes, and they don't take advantage of it. Like, participating in the work retirement plan pre-tax, but then they won't take advantage of that, even though sometimes it'll have a company match, but they'll go and download an app and send their money there with no pre-tax advantage and no advantage at all, not even do an IRA that we could create. Like if there's no plan at work, it's mid-year, you can get your own IRA, for your taxable income, and then you can write it off against the taxable income. But you have to have taxable earned income to set up an IRA. But do you know if you're age 50 or older, you can put 7,000 a year into a Roth or a traditional IRA. And at work, in the 401k, a 401k, that 401k, all that is a tax code. So if you ever feel like you don't know any tax codes, that's not true. You've probably heard of a 401k, a 403b, a 457. All of those are just tax codes for different retirement accounts. See? Trivia, right? You know tax codes. So with the 401ks and those pre-tax plans, in general, you're going to, in the overwhelming majority of them, you're going to be able to do up to 9,500. For some, it may even have more. Like say it's a 403b, it could possibly even allow you to save more. You're like, who's saving $20,000 a year? A lot of people. A lot of people. And if they're over 50, they can catch up by $6,500. We gotta and just keeping this real for a moment. Y'all see all these people going on vacations?
Yep.
I see people going on vacations that don't even have jobs. I see people getting cars and stuff, you know what I mean? And posting it on social media, and they don't even have jobs.
Unemployment.
Don't even have a job that they could have got unemployment for. You know what I'm saying?
Weird.
You could only get unemployment if you had a job. Like,
that PPP.
So if you never exactly, you know how many people are making up that they have businesses, grants
Wow.
and things, because really, literally, even if you did, people got a lot of money. Like, say they just drove a couple of hours for Uber or something like that. They qualify for things like that too. I have no problem with that. I'm not standing in judgment about that. You know, the point is it's gonna stop. So we have to have emergency fund. Look, what's like wow. It's just like we're out here dancing around and just I don't know, just celebrating when everybody else is the majority is just saving. The saving rate overall in America has increased since the pandemic. Our spending rate as a community, I haven't seen the research, but if I just did if we just did our a hood survey, it looks like we spending more.
Yep.
We can't save and spend. We can't save and spend. And the evictions are about to like have no more grace period. It's like done. Right, Janae? It's almost over. We have to get it together.
It's already started here in the District of Columbia. It started with,
Evictions.
yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of that is why the vaccine is being pushed on, and that's why the vaccine is free. So that if you're on the street and they forced you to get a vaccine, then people don't have to be afraid of you being on the street. Because remember, the thing was to keep them in the house because we don't want to get sick from these people.
Right.
So now they have the vaccine, they don't care where you sleep. We got, this is real, and I can only I say that because I'm connected to you. This you are my, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, see, this is my community is my customer. So when you hurt, I hurt. We
Mhm.
hurt.
No,
We hurt together. You know what I'm saying? We hurt together. But most of the time, people that we do business with, they really don't feel your pain because they're getting the bulk of their income from the majority. So your bank really doesn't worry about how much black they make money off just the fees and overdrafts that we do. So put us in the commercial because they go, blacks pay higher fees. And it's true. I'm about to do an interview on that. You know, the survey, we pay banks to make a lot more money off of us. That's why you see these black banks coming up. You don't see black business grant programs, you know what I'm saying, for helping us start businesses, and black business, hedge funds to help us, you know what I mean, invest in our business. You know what I mean? No, like you just see banks that want to set up your checking account so that when you bounce checks, they can charge you 40, 50, $100. That's more than they'll make off the majority of white people, according to the survey in CNBC.com, is $0. $0 in bank fees a year.
Mm.
Woo! So the so that's something we need to think about in mid-year. Am I saving enough? Does it sound ridiculous to you to save 20%? I know as a business owner, like every bit of what I don't eat goes back into the business. Yes. So also, check on the income that you've made for the year so far. Like, say that you're doing work and you're going to get a 1099 at the end of the year, and they're not withholding any taxes for you. So you need to realize, like, ask them, where am I? How much money have I made with you this year? And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, make sure that you reach out and join the entrepreneurship membership of AfroEconomics. You need to join and learn about the importance of paying estimated taxes throughout the year. You got to get in it. So we have to, so check out how much income you've already made this year. Make sure that you're withholding enough through work. Make sure that I don't know if anyone else is, but I'm still waiting on my refund. Anybody else?
I just heard a story on the news yesterday. That's a lot of people still waiting.
There's a lot of people still
A
waiting.
lot, yeah. Yeah, they
And
are
there's a
backed
place.
up. They're backed up.
Yeah, Miss Davis, and she does tax preparation, and she's saying, you know what I mean, that she's still waiting too. So, and if Mr. Jones, you know everything.
No, stop it.
He said, stop it. Just most things. Just most.
Mm.
Not
Mm.
everything,
Mm.
just most. That's right. That's we thank God for you. I but it's crazy that but if you're getting like goo gobs of money back, then you're actually giving them way too much during the year. So making sure that you're paying in enough is probably not as important as making sure that you're not giving them too much. Cuz look how hard it is to get your money back. You got to wait for them to give it back. And they're not
Mhm.
giving us any interest. Why they hold it?
Sure
Good
ain't.
point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Right, right.
That needs to be emphasized, because so many people that are supposedly educated do not understand. They're holding your money, using your money,
That's
not
right.
paying you a dime.
That's right. It's ridiculous. Great point. Seriously. But we created it as like people think, well, I like getting that check back because they think they would not save unless they do that. And that's cutting yourself short. That's saying that you have the lack of ability to save. And you do have the ability to save. We can be the most disciplined people on this planet. The
And that's
things
the
that
key.
we have accomplished with little to nothing, just think about it.
You know,
Use yourself as an example, right? It's like you don't be use yourself. Like I would think about myself, and I don't know if you all were talking. I was saying about this guy running for governor. He started with this firm the same year I started my firm. But I bet they had family members that invested in them. Like Jeff Bezos had his stepfather gave him 250,000 to start Amazon. 250,000 gave it to him. Like, I started my business with zero. That's the majority of us. And I started my career with negative because I had school loans to pay back, master's and undergrad, struggling to pay that back. Like, I think I have finished it because well, it wasn't 10 years out, but I was out, and I had already paid it. But now school costs so much more. It costs so much more. Their school loans are so much, their balance is so much bigger. So we're like, we're it's crazy for me to compare myself when I started with negative and then start a business with nothing. All I had was work. That's all I had was work. And thank God for good health. That's it.
JB, I would say you had more than that. You had knowledge, you had passion, you
Oh,
had
thank you.
drive. We had all of
Yeah, I don't know why I care about that. That don't feed you. Look, look. Send it to Virginia Power. Here's some of my passion.
that.
If you pay my bills,
I ain't give you,
like, so
I ain't giving you no more confidence.
I know, right? Don't be trying to help me feel better. Exactly. But isn't it true? Like we have like if given the same opportunities, we're not though. So I don't even like to think about it. You know what I'm saying? But look at what we can do out of nothing though. Look at what we can do out of nothing.
JB, if I try to get people to understand, they wait for a check once a year, but then they're struggling during the year. Like
Yeah.
you're struggling for
Mm.
11 months out the year. You're swiping the credit card to make basic needs. So they're not giving you anything. They're just giving
Nothing.
you back the interest-free money that they have used.
that's
So
true.
take the time to like review over your HR documents. If you're getting back like $5, $6, $7,000, there's nothing to
Mm.
celebrate about that at all, unless you
Yep.
have a business that you're using write-offs for. You're up into credit card debt. I know customers of mine
Mm.
that have debt 30 and $40,000, but they get so excited about $6,000 in
That's right.
return. And I'm like,
Crumbs.
you still don't see that you're not winning with that. Like
Because they
you
don't
have
think they have to pay that credit card back. Like all they see is $150 bill. They don't look at the credit card, for the $34,000 balance. You know?
One time I took
Yep.
the time to show them how much money they had paid in interest
Mm.
in their credit card.
Yep.
And one lady was like, well, that's more than I got back my taxes. I said, my point exactly. Like,
Exactly. And the interest rate should be enough. Like the interest rate on that credit card is probably 18. The interest rate that they're paying you is 0. But we have to actually, plan it through. We have to actually think it through. And we do have the ability to do that. But too often we'll say, I don't understand that. I don't know. Like, she was talking about that. She was talking all fast. I don't know what she was talking about. Like, but we can get it. We can get it. Like, I mean, you don't understand like how many things that I talk about every day that I knew nothing about when I first learned it, right? We didn't know anything about any of the things we know. Like, but we can conquer everything if we choose to. If we choose to. The whole point is choice. And I believe that we just have to refuse to be broke. No, if I pass away, that's what I want on my tombstone. Refuse to be broke. Don't put my name.
Yes,
Just say refuse to be broke. That's it.
yes, and amen to that.
Amen. Right? He gonna come. He gonna come. He come visit me. And don't put no money. Look, and don't waste your money on no flowers and nothing like that, because I can't see it. Wouldn't it be funny? I put a sign up. That's a waste. I do not need that. I just needed you to be nice to me. That's all I wanted, right? Isn't it the truth? They become like, refuse to be broke. That's it.
JB,
So,
I always have a comment somewhere in the
please.
middle or in the beginning or at the end, but let me just say this.
Mhm.
AfroEconomics to me has been a big blessing just to be around like-minded people. Although
Beautiful.
I'm not a business owner,
Beautiful.
I'm hoping one day some of that will rub off on me.
Amen.
But to be around like-minded people, I think that is one of the main things too. We need to kind of take a very close look at. And if we sit around people who are big spenders and not savers and people who are not, into the financial planning, okay, there may be good friends of ours, people that we dearly love,
Amen.
but we want to make sure we don't take some of the pages from their paragraphs.
That's right.
I
That's
want to
right.
come in that AfroEconomics and sit here and gather as much information as I possibly can from people who I feel like they think like I think.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I
I
just
think
had
like
to.
an interesting thing was when I started my business, I had this intern, and it was it was actually Janae who was in here, her brother. And I remember he was in high school and he came to me with the office, and I wasn't that far ahead of him because I was straight out of college, and I'm a stockbroker. And I met him, and he would come to the workplace and he would say, you need to call so and so and so. He knew everybody on city council, and everybody, he had grown up in the city. And he was like, you need to call so and so, and you need to call so and so. And I wrote down their names and wrote down their names, took them back to school. And then I called everybody he told me to call: doctors, lawyers, this and that, everybody. All of them were broke. I'm not even making it up. I'm not even
Mhm.
making it up.
I
All
believe
of
it
them.
too. I believe
Oh,
it.
I said, then I said, well, let me calm down. Let me calm down. Because that, I say that to say what we think money looks like. Is it really what money looks like in a lot of cases? Now, there's some, but I'm just saying overwhelmingly. That's why you'll see a lot of times they get in trouble because of tax problems, because they're trying to live above their means once they've become like this public figure, but they
Mhm.
still are only making the same money. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, you got to think about it. The president of the United States makes like 300,000. 300, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, and granted, like, a lot of his expenses are taken care of. You know what I mean? But see, he's also under a lot of risk. But think about that, and you got to adjust a whole bunch of people who work for the government lower than that. So
Mm-hmm.
you have like you have the average. So I said, well, let me just stop. Let me just stop and let me just focus on helping people that I really enjoy helping. Cause I mean, a lot of them I called, they were like, I ain't got no money. Click. Now nobody want to talk about that. Click. I'm with the white guy. Click. Da 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 da. Click. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just straight rude. So I said, well, I'm just gonna like work with people that I like. And I'm not gonna base it on who we think has money and who should actually, you know what I mean, try to help this
Mhm.
girl who was the first black stockbroker, you know what I mean, in the capital of the South or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like like you said, they didn't care. So it's like, so I'm just gonna um I'm just gonna stick it out. And all of a sudden I started meeting people with lots of money who wore hard hats, hard toe shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like just saved their
Mm-hmm.
money and were like, JB, can you help me da da da? Can you help me da da da? And I made millionaires, millionaires out of people who had never had a school loan. Never.
But a lot of problems is that a lot of professionals think there's an image. In other words, I
Yes.
have this position, so I'm expected to have this huge house. I'm
Yes.
supposed to have drive this type of
Yes.
car,
And
supposed to dress
yes.
this type of way, and that has been pervasive in the Black community for years. Image is
Yes.
everything, but image is not anything if you're poor.
Yes. Yes.
If you can't
Yes.
heat yourself and you live in a house you can't heat in the wintertime
Yes.
or cool
Yes.
in the summer. I mean,
Yes.
that to me that's not living.
And then a lot of time, and there's no place, in my opinion, there's no place in our community for people to think that they're better than someone when
Mm-hmm.
all of us are judged by the color of our skin, unfortunately. They're really not gonna ask. Like that black woman, she was a doctor and she got COVID and they let her die in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
She looked just like me. They
Mm-hmm.
really didn't care that she was a doctor. Like they just didn't care. Like, when it comes down to it, like Don King said, like I'm not gonna say what he said, but we all the same. They slammed Doug Wilder up against some window in the airport. They didn't even know he was the first black governor in the United States of America. Slammed him against the wall. So I think that we have to wake up to that we need to be focused on good people. And the only way I feel that we're going to have a sense of satisfaction out of our life is help people that want to be helped. Because there's a whole bunch out there, you know what I mean, that really want honest help. And we focus on them, we can really make a difference and do business with people who really care about you. Don't do business with people because you think other people do business with them and you both hate the person. Like and people do that. That's how Bernie Madoff got so, rich. Like he was like, goodness. He probably was like, I can't believe these people are doing all this. They're doing all this with me. He said, I'm gonna have to, they trying to give me so much money. I gotta interview them first. I gotta let you know. I'll let you know if you can give me your money so I can rob you. Wait a minute. Fill out this form. That's the way it was. That's the way it was. I mean, really, like he had to turn himself in because they were never going to catch him. Amazing. Amazing. But people felt good about him, like, oh, I want to be with him. Like, he would have like a million likes. You know what I'm saying? He would have the most if he was doing now, like, he would have the most subscribers. They're like, oh, I want Bernie's plan. That's something. Well, we had to focus on like, integrity, honesty, commitment, a track record, a real track record. Mm, mm, mm. So 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 we're talking also, and that is check on the income. That was number 4. Check on your income. See how much you've made for the year. Look at what you've been doing even on your outside business and everything. Look at any investments that you sold for a capital gain. Make plan out your capital gains taxes, and then you may get near the end of the year and you can write off some losses that will help. So we have to plan these things out. A fifth point is to check your insurance. Check your insurance now. If you haven't looked at your car insurance lately, make sure you check on your car insurance policy, your rental insurance policy, your homeowner's insurance policy. You know, with this thing in Florida, and you know, with the tragedy of the people dying in that building, it made me really think about how protected, you know, their families are, their the beneficiaries are, like how that will happen when the insured is gone. How will, you know, if that happened to a family member of yours, how would you find out what their homeowner's policy, who had their policy, to see if they had, you know, any type of coverage that would help them in that type of situation? Because you want to take care of their things. How would you find out because all of their life insurance information even is where? With them.
Mhm.
As someone you knew, you know, so now it's destroyed. And that's something we think about it.
Yeah. Good.
On Friday during our business network, I want to talk about it from a business insurance perspective. You know, what does business insurance cover? How can that business owner cover the people or provide for the people, the family you know, that are the living family members? How would they connect the pros and cons? Did anybody else? Nobody thought about that, huh? That shows I'm kind of on the geek side, ain't I? But that's what, you know, I mean, that's what it, but that's what it, you know what I mean, made me think about. Then I thought about, like, you know, the building structure coverage itself and how easy it is for them to just file bankruptcy and not help anybody. Think about the child who stayed somewhere else and their entire family is still in there.
Mm.
And they were spending the evening with their grandma or something somewhere else.
Oof.
How do I make sure that they're provided for? You know, just with that in mind, that it could be a good idea for life insurance and things to have someone else. Like one of my clients, he was going in the hospital and he told his niece that was driving him to the hospital that if anything happens to me, and he wasn't even supposed to die, but he told her, if she told me, he said, if anything happens to me, call JB. Just call JB. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
But what if you don't know that person? Like, what if you know what I'm saying, don't know that JB? Like, you don't, you know what I mean, have anyone that has a collective look at
Hmm.
that person.
Mhm.
Mm. Our portal could be very powerful if we use it. Did y'all think about that? That secure portal, I got to get Queen Howard into loving it. But once you but once you figure out like uploading, you know what I mean, and unless, you know, as long as somebody doesn't take over the cloud, which is, you know, when you have that threat, but having stuff saved in a cloud can be helpful because it's not just here, you know. So if you have like, oh, or so communication is key. And a lot of times, you know, your like your spouse doesn't know, you know what I mean, what's going on. Like
Hmm.
I was like telling Michael the other day, like where our main water turnoff is. And he was like, "Oh, well, I will find it." I was like, "Nah, baby. When you need your main water to turn off, you can't think and you can't look." You know what I'm saying? Like it has to be something. I was like, there's a commercial with this plumber, and it's so true though. And for some reason, the lady was just like, "Where's my water turn off? Where's my water turn off?" And I remember someone came in and they were replacing my dishwasher, and they thought they had turned off the water main, and they hadn't. So the water got all over the kitchen. I mean, they almost ruined everything. It went through to the garage. I mean, it was crazy. He had to paint the garage. Fortunately, there was something built into the kitchen floor to drain down. That is the only thing that saved him, because that would have been so expensive for his business. But that if someone else was with him, because I had no idea. And the actual water main, and that's why I was telling my husband, because like if so that happens and I'm not here or whatever, or I am here and I forget or whatever, I'm just doing something else, I want him to know. And we need to like make sure that we tell our loved ones everything that we need them to know. It's not cool to just pass and not, like, you know what I'm saying? To let them know, like, here's my important papers right here. This is my, this is this right here. Do you feel me?
Mhm.
Find power another way, but don't find power by closing out those who need to make sure that your best interest is, looked at. Because there's so much stuff, like, that anything could happen, and so you just want to prepare. That's all insurance is preparing for the worst case scenario. And your best form of insurance is communication. And if someone communicates to you that they don't care about you, you got to take that seriously as well. You have to take that seriously. They're like, I've heard people say, "Well, I don't want her to have that. If I die, she going around, she gonna move somebody else up in the house." Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm like, I'm like, you feel to yourself like, won't you be in a better place? You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't it feel better for your spouse to not have to worry about, money, especially if you buy things together. So many people buy things together and they don't get any insurance together. Mm-mm. You gotta have it. You gotta have it. Correct, Major Jones? Tell them. Exactly. But get the protection. This is that time of the year, every time of year. But this, since we're talking about it, make sure you check out the health insurance, check out the disability insurance, check out the life insurance, check out the property insurances, protect your assets. That includes yourself, right? And then I remember also I was saying that um, Philip Morris is doing a major transition to doing a health insurance budget. And I was like, I have several clients I know that have retired from Philip Morris that I have not heard from, and they need to be talking to me about those options and about that new plan, because the sooner you respond, they give you a $400 bonus if you respond. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but you need to give yourself time to get an understanding of it. And I've seen like FedEx is doing the same thing. Mr. Jones, they're outsourcing their health insurance for their retirees.
Wow.
So you just talk to them, they give you a fixed budget. And if you spend that, you got to pay for all the rest.
That's the same. Metro is doing something like that with new.
That's right. Everybody's gonna start doing that because COVID has anticipated, like, like these people, they're way ahead of us. And we're way ahead of the average person because we're talking about this. It is anticipated that COVID is going to increase the cost of health insurance by at least 30%. At least.
JB, they already have commercials for Medicaid plans that have COVID coverage.
They have, oh, they cut what?
They have commercials that says you can get a Medicaid plan that has COVID coverage included in your plan.
They do, oh, they do include COVID?
Yeah, COVID coverage.
That, I mean, they don't have any choice. You know what I'm saying? They don't have any choice. But at least they're running a commercial. I just hope people really sign up. You know, that's the government trying to reach out to get people, you know, healthy. You would be amazed at how many people who qualify for Medicaid and are not signing up. Get that, get it. And then the healthcare.gov has, you know, is a good way to get access to health insurance as well. A lot of people lost their job. A lot of people in our community lost their job, and that meant they lost their health insurance coverage. How are the Lawsons doing today? So we also got Keith Smith. I see you in there. That's right. We got Mr. Smith with what's the name of your company? Is Keith Smith Homes or something like that. And then also he's probably away from it, but we saw him in there. So look, you had a chance at a commercial. So check your insurance. And then my final point is this is a time to check on your will, check on medical directive, check on the medical directive, or they might call it a healthcare proxy, and also power of attorney. Power of attorney. This is a time to really, you know, check or make sure that you have I feel like power of attorneys can be very scary, and they can be used against you. And I really never thought about it. We do need to get somebody like Janae to she's an attorney to, you know, sometimes, but she's like, JB, I focus on real estate. I know, but we need someone that we trust to, you know, talk about like, how do you get a power of attorney, but still keep yourself protected? Because if you designate someone as power of attorney, when do they get the right to use it without you giving them permission? Like, how crazy do you have to be? And how do they prove that you're crazy? Have you seen that movie, I Care About You?
Oh, yes. Very good movie. It's called I Care About You a Lot.
I Care About You a Lot. I started looking at that movie. Michael turned to it and we were looking. I said, what am I looking at? But it's about this lady, and she gets power of attorney over people that really don't have any family that's watching out for them. And the people are this one lady, she was highly capable. She was doing fine. And the lady came in and basically destroyed her life. It was crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. Like, and just took over her. And she would say, I care about you a lot. Like, you know, they named the movie after that. But that it makes you, you know what I mean? Think about how fragile, you know, your situation is as you age. I remember a client, and she would tell me like that her daughter was like spending, you know, way too much, costing her too much money. And she bought the daughter a house and moved the daughter in there with her children. And then she bought herself another house. And then she became ill, and she designated her partner as her beneficiary. And her daughter, upon death, got mad and fought the partner for, you know, being the beneficiary, but yet he was the one that took care of her when she was dying. And I was like, wow, like, and I didn't even know that that was possible. I mean, she went out and got it, and when he was trying to take over the account, they came and like served me, served the product, served everybody. Said nope, stop it, not until we go through this process. And I didn't even know that was possible.
Mm.
We're gonna
Be able
look
to
into
take
this.
over?
He settled it. He gave her half, but their mother, the mother did not want her to get half. She's like, I gave her enough. So when the lawyer said, I'm going to subpoena you, you have to come to court, I said, I'm not sure that you want me to come to court. But then she snuck and they wrote, she hired like someone and they got on my calendar. And I said, this is interesting. This white lady wants to invest with me. I said, well, okay. She's like, yeah. And you could tell it was a white lady. And she got on my calendar. And that lady came in and served me and got on my appointment, got on my calendar and served me with coming to court for that case. And she said, you have been served. I felt so used. I was so ticked. I was, you know what
Oh
I'm
my
saying?
God.
I was like, I was like, here I am being nice to this white lady. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna do this.
By any means necessary.
They
That
said
was
you've been served. And I told the lawyer, I said, when I go, I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. I was like, you might want to rethink me coming because that client gave me specific details and she did not want your client to get anything. Then they said
wow.
you didn't get to go. And I told her partner, I said, I'm going. I look forward to going. I'm my favorite day. And they were like, look, then they tried to sweet talk me. Well, we'll pay you back for your time. I said, no, don't worry about it. I'm coming in. I'm coming to court. I was mad when they canceled the day. You know what I'm saying? I ain't scared. I ain't scared. I'm coming. I'm gonna tell them what you did. Get on my calendar.
You probably the reason why they canceled it.
I told him, I said, you don't need to give in. Why did you give in? We had this thing. I was about to tear her up. Your mama would be so mad at you, girl. You know you ain't supposed to get that. You got the house. What is wrong with you? Oh my goodness. But it was like, they were like, I guess they don't think that people really know their customer. You know what I'm saying? They didn't think that maybe like they actually, I could say, yes, she told me this. Yeah, she said, yes. Was this done? This is what she wanted. He gave in. Yeah, but you never know. So check on your paperwork and don't wait until you're ill. Like, see, she got away with that because she was ill when she, finally updated everything. So that probably gave the lawyer more confidence that she was so ill, she didn't know what she was doing. Yeah. But make sure that you get the help that you need. We can work. I like to kind of talk the things through so then when you need the legal documents, we can know if it's something that you could do with a template and use one of the websites, or if it's something that you need to it's more complicated. Like if there's a special needs trust needed for someone that's disabled or things like that. But when we talk it through, then it saves you a little bit of money because when you go in there, they're not super selling you. You're getting what you want. Because sometimes if you don't know what you need, you can go into a situation and they're just selling you everything that they want to sell you. But we need to know, at least what you need. Correct?
Right.
Yeah. Thank you so much. You all were very good. I think that this, topic is right on time. We're at halfway through the year. This is time to, think about what you're thinking about, and are you thinking about the right thing? Are you saving enough? Are you prepared for taxation? Do you have any surprises coming up? Do I have my emergency fund intact? that emergency fund is so important. I know we feel like we need to escape, but like Queen Howard was telling me today, sometimes when we stay a little bit closer to home, at least we don't have, when we get a break, at least we don't have to, get back to work still feeling tired. She's like, sometimes we need to take a break and stay closer to home. And I was like, that's a very good point. Take a break and be in the home. No, but because you gotta pay to live there. I don't care if your house is paid for, you still gotta pay to live in it. It still costs, doesn't it? You see how Mr. Jones is party animal. What you doing over there? With your
That was my
go-go?
phone. That was my phone ringing.
Oh, my.
With your go-go music playing.
That was,
You hear
that
him, Miss
wasn't.
Davis? Miss Davis, that's your friend. That's your
It
friend.
wasn't go-go. It wasn't go-go. That was hell to the nana.
Oh no, not you don't know nothing about that.
That's my ringtone.
You don't know nothing about that's Bishop. What's his name? Bishop Bowinkle, right?
Yeah.
A
Bishop, yeah.
member told me about him. I said, "This is amazing. You would have thought that I had discovered like gravity or something when I discovered Bishop Bowinkle. Like, this is amazing. Do you see how many like views he has on YouTube?
I think it's over 1 million, right?
Oh, it's a million. I know it's amazing, and that was like it's probably like 2 million by now. That is amazing. And the bicycle with the bicycle. Y'all got to check it out. If you haven't ever, Miss Dickens, if you have not seen
with the white suit, yes,
with
everything.
the white suit and the
with
bicycle.
But
you can look it up on YouTube, and it'll say Bishop. It'll say "Hell to the Nana with the bicycle." I'm gonna look it up. I would tell you. I'm telling you, like one of them must not have the bicycle.
And I'm surprised y'all heard it because I got my headphones on.
Oh, it was loud. Oh, it was loud. Oh, let me show y'all as y'all go. Well, I'm gonna show y'all what we talking about. He got the bicycle right here.
You can't do it no better than that. You can't do it no better than that.
Bishop Bowinkle.
Yes.
Hell to the no.
Hell to the no. Hell to the no.
That is my. That's been my
I gotta
ringtone for the last.
I gotta
2
turn
years.
this off.